Hi, I'm Nat Warren-White, a member of the class of 1968 at Hebron. It was a long time ago, and a turbulent time. We were at the height of the Vietnam War at that period, and a lot of us were protesting hard against the war. I was the editor-in-chief of the ASP, which at that point was the Hebron Literary Magazine. And we wrote a lot of articles hoping to be able to change people's minds about the war and about a lot of other things. And maybe we helped. Went on to do a lot of protesting in the streets, and it seems very similar to what's happening these days. I'm so glad to see so many young people out there speaking their minds and marching for change, and happy to see that Hebron is doing their part to support that kind of change as well, internally and with their students as they move out into the world. You folks just graduating in 2020 have the great opportunity of going out and pursuing your dreams, but also in helping others fulfill theirs. And that's where the protest movement comes into play. I remember after leaving Hebron, I was one of two students that year, and we graduated in '68, and me and my roommate at the time, Oscar Look, both maniacs. He came from South Addison, I came from Freeport, Maine, and we both ended up at Wesleyan. We're the only two from that year's class to go to Wesleyan, surprisingly. I had a great time at Wesleyan, where I studied theater and art, and again, worked hard to make change culturally and in society through the work we were doing in the theater, as well as simply speaking our minds, stepping into the streets. So there's lots of options out there and ways to help, and I'm sure that all of you are thinking about those possibilities and making the steps that you need to step forward and speak your minds, pursue your dreams at this point. When I left Wesleyan, I left with a degree in theater and went on to the National Theater Institute, which was connected with the Eugene O'Neill Theater down in Waterford, Connecticut. Graduated from there with a certificate in theater and went on to pursue a career as an actor, first as a mime, oddly enough, studying and working with Tony Montanaro up in South Paris, just up the road from Hebron, where we studied and performed in the old horse barn up there, and then went on the road and toured all over the eastern United States with our mime troupe called Celebration Mime Theater. I left Celebration and learned to speak and went into the legitimate theater and pursued acting in New York, and then in regional theaters, Actors Theater of Louisville in Kentucky, McCarter Theater in Princeton, New Jersey, a bunch of other great theaters, and also working in film and television. After I landed in Boston, where my wife Betsy came from, and we moved back to when she insisted that we stop traveling and had a young son, Josh. We landed in Boston, and for 8 years I performed in the wonderful, long-running hit comedy Sheer Madness audience participation show, which just closed after more than 30 years. Last few months, largely due to the COVID crisis. I loved that show, even though the basement of the Charles Theater was not the greatest place to work, 8 shows a week. But for 8 years I did that show, and then worked into a lot of other theater, as well as educational training films, and then teaching at Emerson College, where I taught acting, and then at the Boston and New England conservatories, where I taught movement and acting for opera students. Then at Babson, where I worked with young MBA students, helping them discover their creative side and incorporate that in the work that they were doing. And eventually, most recently, been teaching at Harvard at the executive ed program there, working with young business students, helping them learn to speak and communicate more powerfully, tell their stories, and work toward a stronger form of leadership. That work came to me after I moved to Boston as well, when I started working with the Ariel Group, a global consulting firm, doing training, leadership training. And then in 2002, I discovered the world of drama therapy, which is an amazing form of therapeutic healing using theater techniques as a way to help people struggling with PTSD and other mental and emotional issues. I became a drama therapist in 2002 after getting a master's degree in drama therapy at Lesley University in Boston, Cambridge, and went on and have pursued a new career in drama therapy, as well as coaching for business and nonprofit leaders since then, and still doing some acting and directing as well here and there. You can go to my website, natwarrenwhite.com, and read about what I do. And one of the things that you'll see there are some articles that I've written about sailing, which is a big passion of mine. I've sailed on boats in the ocean and lakes and all over the place since I was a kid. In 2006, I took my boat and left Maine and sailed around the world with my family, and a lot of friends joined us along the way. We had an amazing trip for 5 years. Came back home in 2011 to a very different place, but having had an extraordinary experience. And you can read about some of that on my website as well. And I'm writing a book. I'm still putting that together about that experience. The Ariel Group, who I work for in Boston, you can check out their website and see what we were doing and are doing still in the leadership training world, and now working mostly virtually. I have a number of coaching clients in different parts of the world. I work with a couple of folks in India at this point, and other folks in the consulting world, working with them using Zoom and other platforms, WebEx, different kinds of virtual platforms. It's not the same as meeting live and face-to-face, but it's doing the trick. We're getting through it, and we will. Things will get better. So I wish you all a great future in whatever field you're pursuing. If you're interested in talking about what it's like to work for yourself and develop your own business, your own field of endeavor, please feel free to reach out. Check out my website, and I'll be glad to meet with you virtually, online, or in person, and we can talk about how to pursue a personal form of business as opposed to working for someone else. And I've never done anything other than work for myself, and I love it. I turned 70 this year, and still going at it and enjoying life at the moment. My wife and our son and his partner and our grandson are all hunkered down, quarantined on Maui in Hawaii, where we've been since February, waiting for the whole COVID thing to settle down back home. We hope to get back in the next month or so, back to Maine. But we've been biding our time and working remotely from here, which has been a wonderful experience to all of us be together for 4 months, something that never would have happened if it weren't for the COVID virus. So there are silver linings to all of this, and we will get through it, all of us, hopefully healthy and better for it. So good luck. Congratulations on your what must have been a strange graduation, virtual graduation. And please, again, reach out. You can find me also through LinkedIn, Nat Warren-White. And I'll be glad to connect with you in any way that's possible. Thanks. And that's it. That's all for now. See you soon, perhaps. Bye for now.